cold. From 7 to 9, come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's Tingle and Co. What up, Lloyd? What up, Lloyd? You can call me him. I'm Shay Dixon in the whip with them RPMs. Gotta pull up to the chat, yeah, shit out to them. Not trying to ball like Big Four, then get out the gym. Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. When you see that notification, we about to go live. Hit this track and do your dance like you Karen Lacey. Run it back and turn Matthew to the house, baby. It's Tingle and Co. From 7 to 9, come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go. From 7 to 9, it's Tingle and Co.
All right, good morning and welcome in here on a Thursday International edition as we are rolling through the week here. Once again, shout out to Lloyd and Andre holding it down back home, getting us through here in the got a little piece of merch yesterday, the Atlantis Bahamas. Trying to walk around like an athlete around here. I got a little limp to the walk now. Got this on. Throw the hats off to the side a little bit. Protein shake, slippers, the whole deal. Walking around trying to look good, but got a little red yesterday, real bad. You can see that.
Oh yeah, you get the
real bad.
Are you getting the like the suntan with the chains where you move the chain? It's a little bit lighter. It's like the man's version of a sexy tan line.
No, I thought I would. I had the chain on, and I came back in and there's no chain tan line, so it didn't work. I wanted to have
a cross, the stigmata.
Cross.
You would have that.
Yeah, you know, but it didn't work. I didn't have it, so I don't know. We'll see it when I go back out there today. See how much
Padre.
Even more red I can get.
Shout out former stands.
Shout out Padre Pio. For those that know.
Amen, brother. I don't know, but I'm sure you can fill me in.
Yeah, in the Catholic Church. He was he's a saint. But he was the one that woke up one day and he had the nails in his hands and in his feet, and they were like, "Oh, I guess you're a saint." And I was like, "You don't know what he does in his free time. If he's been working on this, like he could have knocked this out in the night and not told anybody." But so he woke up at that and he get sainthood. So shout out him.
I mean, yeah, shout out. But yeah, how y'all doing? Back home? How's the weather? Is the weather cleared up back in Baton Rouge?
It rained again last night. We're trying to get all the rain out
before Friday.
Yeah, before Friday.
Right now on the weather app, at least it says no rain.
Anytime
knock on wood. I'm knocking on it right now, but
anytime I wake up and the car is wet, I assume it rained.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that's a valid point.
I'm no weatherman,
but. Yeah, I'm no weatherman. I'm no weather boy. But we'll get to the headlines here. Get that rolling this morning. Yesterday, Brian Kelly, if you haven't seen it on social media, spoke at SEC meetings. And he had a couple of his sound bites catch a little bit of attention, a little bit of draw. People run away with him. Two of the things he said that I included in the headlines were Whit Weeks and Harold Perkins. He gave an update on them. Really good news on that front. Conditioning, change of direction. They're clear to do all the movements that are required by our players, said Brian Kelly. So, really good news on the Perk and Whit Weeks front. As we assumed, they wouldn't be involved in spring, but as summer came around, they would pick up and start working. Seems like everything is going according to plan for the two-star linebackers for LSU. Another thing he said, the potential schedule change for the SEC would be 9 SEC games, 1 Big Ten game, and then 2 non-conference games every single year. We're going to get into that more, obviously, as the show goes on this morning, because we have been a baseball-heavy show as of late, and rightfully so, as we're getting ready for regional play this weekend. But we'll get back on the football front a little bit today, as there is some news and some things to discuss. Obviously, Greg Sankey spoke the other day. We didn't really touch on that much yesterday. And he had some comments that were pretty important, especially for what's coming in the future for college football, for SEC football more specifically. Also saw MLB Pipeline put out their top 200, and they had Cade Anderson slotted as the number 3 overall pick. Look, I mean, I love LSU. I love Kate Anderson. I know Kate Anderson loves LSU. I don't know if you're going to be coming back to campus when you're slotted as the number 3 overall pick in the draft. It would be a far off if that were to happen. Also, in their top 500 list that they put out, there were a pretty good number of Dallas Baptist players, and then one Rhode Island player included on that list. So there is some MLB talent coming into to the box this weekend. Speaking of MLB talent, Griffin Herring was promoted to high A with the Yankees after his 4-1 record with a 1.21 ERA in low A. He was just absolutely shoving. So he gets promoted. And then also, finally, Scott Woodward shared some updates on the new arena for LSU. He spoke to the Advocate yesterday. It included the potential opening, which would be in the year 2029. The site would be on LSU's current golf course. And they have about $400 million in ongoing negotiations with contractors. So that's something that we'll obviously keep an eye on in the coming years to see when some news comes out about that at the arena and everything that goes in with that. But we'll roll right into the 2 clap segment here. We'll start it off with Brian Kelly gets 2 claps. Look, he's going to SEC meetings. He's talking to Paul Feinbaum and doing all the interviews and getting on the microphone. And he's pushing the narrative, man. He's continuing to bet on his team. Talk about this is the best roster he's had, and I agree. But he's going out there and saying it. He's raising the expectations, making sure the expectations are known, and he's adding pressure on himself. And I'm for that. I don't know if Lloyd or Andre, if y'all disagree with the way Kelly's handling it, but I'm all about going out there, understanding the expectations that the national media has for your team, and making sure you acknowledge and set those expectations yourself.
Yeah, not only that, he's not ducking the smoke with the scheduling. So that's fun to see. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah, I'm all for it.
Right? Like, it's nothing new.
Well, and I don't think he has a choice, right? Like, it would be ignorant to go out there and say anything other than this is the best roster we've ever had. Mm-hmm. Like, I obviously have high expectations for myself, but this narrative has already been written. It's not like he can go in there and change expectations. He'd be a fool to try to do that and be like, look, I don't know why people are saying we're so good and we got, did this and that and, maybe we didn't pay this much money. Like, you see Sark out there like, I wish I'd have spent $40 million. Like, Sark.
Right.
I'm sure you spent as many dollars as y'all could have to get whoever we got. Arch fucking Manning. Like, the optics of that alone are enough for people to think that you spent plenty of money. So Brian Kelly does the right thing, the smart thing, be like, this is the best roster I've ever had. It's all contingent on me for us to go put a championship team on the field, and that's the truth. Like, he knows it's the best roster he's ever had, and I think for him to face it head on is the only way he really can play it, but also kudos to him for doing that.
Yeah, I mean, he very easily could have not put the pressure on himself, and I think that's kind of, like you alluded to, what he did when he went out there and was like, look, we've put it together, we've done everything right up to this point to create this, to do this process. And now it comes down to Brian Kelly and his ability to get the job done. So I'm for that. I'm excited. It got me fired up again for football season. Mm-hmm. So Brian Kelly gets 2 claps. Ready? And then Kate Anderson. We just talked about it. He's the MLB Pipeline Top 200. The slot value for the number 3 overall pick that the Mariners currently possess is a whopping $9,504,400. So my man Kate Anderson deserves 2 claps because, look, like I was saying about LSU, you ain't passing up no $9.5 million. So 2 claps for Kate Anderson for the job he's done this season and the potential payout he's going to get in the MLB draft. So Kate Anderson, 2 claps. Ready? Next, the Inside LSU Baseball X account. I wanted to give my guy a shout out. He shot me a message over the weekend, just giving us some love on the content we make, that we're doing a great job. And look, if you don't follow at Inside LSU Baseball on Twitter, he's crushing the content right now. He gave us a little shout out. I made sure to return the favor. And look, that he crushes the analytics, the numbers, the statistics. That's what he does. When you look at his page, you scroll throughout. He's the one, like, he's got the Dallas Baptist baseball the players that are slated to go in the MLB draft. With Bucknam at 100 overall, L. Wanger at 103, Jay at 165. Go down the list. He keeps everybody up to date on numbers, stats, all of those things, and he just does an absolutely excellent job. So if you're not following at Inside LSU Baseball on Twitter, make sure you go follow him. And shout out to him for getting those numbers out because it helps us out, helps me do my job because I am not the most in-depth reporter when it comes to sports. So whenever I have a guy that I can trust that's getting those numbers for me and will getting those numbers out that I can use, I want to give him a shout out. So shout out to at Inside LSU Baseball. 2 claps, ready. Next up, LSU Shreveport. We have not touched on this yet. My dad has been hounding me to get this into the document. So shout out to Andre for putting it in there, or Lloyd, whoever did it.
Yeah.
My dad sent me some stuff this morning on LSU Shreveporters. They are just undefeated. They are 57-0 after defeating Southeastern in Game 15 of the NAIA World Series. They advance to the semifinals. If they win that, obviously they'll advance to the finals, which will be played on Saturday. So they have the ability and the opportunity to go out there and win the whole thing and finish it off undefeated, as they're currently sitting at 57-0, which is absolutely unbelievable. James Sells in the chat, 55 or 56 and 0 losses. Shout out to them. It's 57, but 2 dubs away from a natty and a perfect season. So 2 claps for LSU Shreveport. Ready? That 318, baby, the 318. The Saints had a team bonding exercise yesterday at a paintball park, and Jeff Duncan put out that the last time he recalls Saints team bonding doing paintball was in 2006, obviously the start of what was the magical run with Drew Brees, and they made the NFC Championship that season. So if the Saints are trying to bring a little luck back on their side, going to do some paintball might work out.
Good
So
omen.
2 claps for the Saints. Ready?
Also, if you've seen Ballers, not the safest thing to do as
No.
a star
Not at
defensive
all.
lineman.
I have a really bad story with paintballing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the safest thing in the world, but I trust these professional
No,
athletes.
not at all.
Hey, you saw LSU do it last year. You saw Mason Taylor run around shirtless. All he did was win fans. They were like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah.
And Mason
That
Taylor's
monster
mom
running around
commented,
with
is like,
paintball gun.
that's my son. I was like, well, you have you'll be just fine. If Jason didn't do enough for y'all, you got another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard plenty of horror stories at the paintball parks, but I'm sure these professional athletes probably have it under control better than, like some kids or whatever. Also, another 2 claps. NBA YoungBoy is free. Look, we're not going to get political. We're not going to say anything other than the fact that NBA YoungBoy is free, and that is a win. He's about to go on tour. The Baton Rouge's very own artist, YoungBoy Never Broke Again, Kentrell Galden. 2 claps. Ready.
Shout out Ron, getting the job
And
done.
then-
Yeah, dude. Thanks, Ron.
Shout out Ron.
Everybody thank
That's
Ron,
That's
in the
Ron.
chat right now. He definitely
Ron's been
made some
saying
calls.
free YoungBoy since
Since
Ron's been saying free YoungBoy
Since
as
he-
early as you can remember. He got his
Probably since
credential
high school,
taken away
actually.
for trying to get Ed Orgeron to
save on tape.
say free YoungBoy. There he is in the chat right there, Ronald Riggs. Shout out my guy Ron. YoungBoy mentioned. You know it.
There you go.
And then lastly, on the 2 claps, I kind of throw this one in there to let Lloyd run with a little bit. This nun that went viral for beatboxing. I sent it to Lloyd yesterday. I don't know.
Show
Can we
this?
play it, Lloyd?
Oh yeah, let me find it. I mean, you type in "nun beatbox" and it's shockingly not a lot of competition.
Yeah,
this
right.
recent?
Surprisingly so.
You have a nun.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday. It was on. I don't know what country it was.
Me either.
I think she was a Brazilian nun. But it was on like a morning TV show, and it seems like she's about to just start humming and singing a tune or whatever. And the nun next to her is like doing this little 2-step dance, like just kind of gliding with the music. And then they just turn it on. Here it is.
Oh.
The priest slides in. Straight out of Righteous Gemstones.
Dude, it's unbelievable.
Here we go
Because
now.
like the whole thing flips. She grabs the mic to beatbox and then as soon as she hits that, the two-step turns into like a full-on
Crip walk.
dance.
Yeah, she's doing
like
the
a full-on
Puritan sea
Dude, that
walk.
looked like the
Puritan sea.
Now Ron knows what I'm talking about.
And
the Cajun two-step, man.
Yeah.
That was a little Cajun two-step in there.
And then the
That's
priest
it.
seamlessly picks it up. It's like, oh, now get ready for the Lord now, y'all. It really is Righteous Gemstones, baby Bobby
Yeah,
Billy.
It is. The priest couldn't sit still. Like he couldn't. I mean, he was moved. The Lord was working in
was
that
the Holy
room
Spirit,
on that
man.
show. It was. But that two claps to that nun because that was the coolest thing I saw yesterday.
It's the
So
coolest
two
thing
claps
religion's
ready.
put out. That's how they get you.
I mean, that's
Mom, you wouldn't believe what they do at this church. It's the coolest thing ever.
Mom, this nun raps.
Yeah. I don't know about that hippity hop.
Now you stay away from that.
She's speaking in tongues.
That's just hip hop, Mom. No, but that's awesome.
That's awesome.
It's what the kids are doing.
That's it. That's the two claps for this morning. Shout out to everybody. Shout out to you guys for being in the chat, being active. Let me double check here on the Tingle and Co chat
Got a John Eads mention
as they're
of
rocking
anybody.
over there. John, we got John Eads. We got John Eads in the chat this morning. Good morning, Johnny. But look, I appreciate all you guys. Don't forget, we are currently still dual streaming. We're live on both channels, the Collider Show channel and the Tingle and Co channel. That will end at the end of this week. So tomorrow will be the last show on both channels. Starting next week, it'll be only over on the Tingle and Co channel, and everything will live and originate over there. So make sure you're ready. Make sure your friends are ready. Make sure your priests and your nuns are ready for whenever we are over on that channel in its entirety. So we appreciate all you guys once again. And we'll get into it here. We'll look at, I want to give a quick shout out to Ross Dellinger, who I gave him a shout out yesterday, has done great work covering SEC meetings, and Greg Sankey, Brian Kelly, all of the quotes and things that have come out from those days, because it's a lot of information to kind of sift through. The one I want to start with you guys, Lloyd and Andre, is the scheduling. Obviously, I think a lot of the scheduling when it comes to SEC games depends on what they do with the college football playoff. So we'll roll into that secondly. But I just want to get y'all's thoughts on the potential, the schedule that Brian Kelly threw out there with 9 league games, a Big Ten game, and then 2 non-conference games, or the alternative, which would be still 8 SEC games, 1 Big Ten game, and then 3 alternate non-conference games. So I want to see what you guys are thinking about that.
I think it's a good idea. Like when you look at it, it's obviously 9 SEC games. It's a grind no matter what, but that's why there's conversations of expanding the playoff to 16 or 14 or whether that may be to get more of those SEC teams in. Playing the Big Ten game was not really a surprise to me, just because that I feel like those 2 conferences have been in talks for a while now. And then the 2 other games, obviously, with the grind of 9 SEC games and a really hard Big Ten game, you're going to have 2 cupcakes in there at some point, or an in-state rivalry, whatever it may be. But I don't hate the idea at all. I don't know about you guys, but I think they should do it.
This comes down to one thing and one thing only.
Money, man.
This is all about money. You have revenue sharing now, and if you're the coaches, you're looking around going, I can do math. I'm looking around, I have to pay players. We still have to pay a staff. Revenue sharing, that's $21 million coming out of our pockets. That's $21 million that I could have gotten for facilities, for a raise, for a 10-year, $100 million contract. Those aren't happening anymore. Mm-hmm. So what's the best way to add money into the pot? Television. So I'm reading on ESPN right now that they are willing to pay anywhere from $50 to $80 million to add to its already $110 million contract. That number is not high enough. They're going to ask for something. They're going to go back to the table, do something more, and if it's not, now they're adding in the added objective of a Big Ten game.
Yeah.
So they're trying to find ways to make money. So so they can continue to run this thing like it's just printing money, which isn't a bad thing. But I think that's the only they don't care about the fan. They don't care about if people go to the games. They don't care about any of that. It's not like, oh, look at this. This is better for the state of college football. It's better because it makes you more money. Like that's the end of it. But in turn, you get better home games, which they can charge more for. So it makes sense that all the way around, and this all comes back to revenue share because they're trying to make enough money to where they can continue to live the way that they are and pay players without it actually being a negative of minus $21 on the books and be like, do I have to fire people? You've seen LSU rearrange the staff a little bit. So now they're looking around going, how can we add to this pie? And it's all coming to a head kind of. I mean, this is the last year before they have to really negotiate it because it's open season on a contract next year with the television rights.
Yeah, and doesn't the SEC pay, right? Pay teams? They give them a little bit of money after the season.
They reallocate, I think, $50 million to everybody.
Exactly. So the more money the SEC gets eventually with the TV contracts.
Yeah, that's where the schools will
Exactly.
make.
The more schools can pay their players.
Yes.
And then you have the no taxes with the NIL probably happening soon. So that's another pitch. I mean,
that's like state to state.
Exactly. That's another discussion. But, I mean, that's just it. It's about to be what we thought it was going to be.
I think it's a win-win. I mean, as much as the money, like they're like Lloyd said, they're basing this decision around money. It's going to turn into better football for the fan. Like, I mean, they want games that create higher ratings, which means more SEC games and playing a Big Ten opponent. So if that's creating higher ratings, the reason it's creating higher ratings is because it's better football games. Like, I mean, it's not going to be the Citadel versus Alabama or Ole Miss's start to their season last year where they played three teams that were just atrocious, and then they ended up dropping back-to-back games to Kentucky and LSU. Like, it's going to be better football games, which is better for the fan. But I really think the biggest thing that this is kind of hinging on is how the college football playoff format will work. Because the last thing the SEC wants to do is not get teams in because of the grueling schedule that their teams are going to have to play. So they are going to want set spots in the college football playoff. Like, they're going to want guaranteed 4 teams get in or however else they would work it out. I'm trying to remember what like there were 3 different college football playoff formats that were put out. There was the 5 plus 11. And then there were
it was like 4
4 2 2 1 plus 3. And then those are the 2 that are most under the most consideration. It's getting very confusing, but it does seem like it's going to be 16 teams here soon. Like, I don't know if it'll be 16 next year, but I would assume the year after we'll probably have a 16-team playoff in the works. It just depends on which format they agree on. If it's a straight seeding type of format or if it's set up a different way. I think that's the biggest thing that the SEC wants to hear is that they're going to have guaranteed 3, 4, 5, whatever teams in. And if they do that, then they'll be like, okay, we'll play a 9-game schedule and a Big Ten game. Because if not, if it's just straight seeding and there's just an eye test telling you're looking at record on who gets in, why would the SEC want to play those games? You saw what happened last season where the SEC cannibalized itself and you only had, 2 teams get in the playoff? It was only Tennessee and Georgia that made it in, and that's because the grueling schedule that had to be played, you had 3 teams with 3 losses sitting right outside looking, and a team with 4 losses all in the top 20 or top 25, like looking on. Like, I mean, everyone was debating South Carolina, Ole Miss, Alabama. Do they get in? They ended up not getting in solely because of the loss number. Like, I think if they only have 2 losses, all 3 of those teams, all 3 of them get in. But because they all had 3 losses, they didn't get the nod. I think that's the biggest kind of coin to flip right now is, can the SEC get teams automatic bids into the college football playoff? If so, you'll get this schedule. And I think that would be a win-win. It really feels like this is moving towards SEC, Big Ten becoming their own entity. Like, I know there was a joke that was put out on social media the other day about Sankey saying something about separating from the NCAA. I don't know if they have that power. I don't know if they can. I don't really know why they wouldn't be able to. But that's really what it feels like it's moving towards, just becoming the Big Ten and the SEC as the two power conferences. And you're seeing that with an agreement on playing a game a year between the two. Like, that's what that's telling to me, is that the Big Ten and the SEC want it to move that direction where they kind of run things in college football.
And you're seeing that the Big 12, I mean, what conference is it? The Big 10? They don't want to do anything till the SEC makes a deal, because they're trying to figure out what power do they hold in this whole thing, because what's the point? Like, I guess if you look at it, what's the point of
playing an SEC team if you're going to get penalized for it if you lose, right? Like, when they're winning all these games in conference, like, say, Penn State, they're going to be a team that goes and loses maybe to an Ohio State or to another team in that year. They're going to make the playoffs every year. Right. And now they're not going to go and do anything because James Franklin is James Franklin, but that's what I'm saying. Like, they're going to have Big Ten teams that do that every year, and they're going to get blown out in the playoffs because they don't have a test. And I think from both sides it's a win-win because they haven't been tested. They don't have a great non-con as far as Penn State goes. Now, Ohio State and Michigan, those two teams know how to schedule non-cons as far as the past 2 years go. But that's what we're moving to.
Yeah, I think that's part of it for the Big Ten is why would we do this if you don't add another game to your schedule that can essentially guarantees everyone another loss? If you're in the SEC and you all have to play, like somebody has to lose. It's like what happened during college basketball. You won't believe the SEC is 32-32 against itself. Like, no shit, buddy. But that's what they're essentially trying to do is like, okay, if y'all add another game, we'll go over there and play, or y'all come up to us and play, and that's another way to add revenue, which it seems like the SEC is basing all of this around as ways to make more money, adding a Big Ten game and getting rid of an out-of-conference game, like against a non-Power 4. It's another quick way to do that, out-of-conference game, add a Big Ten game. You're talking about TV revenue that is going to be off the charts. And so that's another sticking point, selling point that they can go to ESPN with. Look, y'all need programming. We have the best programming outside of the NFL that money can buy, and now we're making it better. And so they're going to have to shell out a massive amount of money to be able to afford it, because now with all the other streaming services that are available, you can go to Apple TV and do a Big Ten SEC challenge if you want, and it's only exclusive to Apple TV. They don't care if you watch it or not. They care that shit gets paid for. And if the Apple TV is going to pay for it, then they're all good on their end. And so that's another point of adding a Big Ten football game. But other than that, like if I'm the Big Ten, I wouldn't be interested in this at all. Like,
because you're getting teams in.
Right.
No matter what.
Penn State gets in. Ohio State gets in. Michigan gets in. They've won the last 2 national championships the way that it is. Why would we change anything?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think another selling point of this whole deal is, like, who's in control, right? Like, who's in charge right now of college football? Like, who is really, truly in control of everything that's happening? Do y'all have an answer? Like, because I don't know.
Greg Sankey,
Yeah,
I mean, the
Sankey,
and Tony
yeah,
Petitti.
I would assume like that. And so I feel like, to me, they're moving towards making that more official than it currently is. Like, right now, it's kind of like, read between the lines. That's who's in control. That's who's making decisions. It's the commissioners of these two conferences. But it's not, it's not on their nameplate. Like, the NCAA is still something, I guess. And so, like, that is the next thing that kind of needs to be moved away from, is like, decisions need to be made and put down and create, and like, things need to happen. Things do need to change. Like, what do you have?
I was going to say, do you know what Tony Petitti did, the Big Ten commissioner? Do you know what he did before that?
Wasn't he a TV guy?
Yeah. He was a senior vice president of CBS from 97 to 2008, and then he ran MLB Network for 12 years. Dang. So you don't think he knows how television works, or how to make this fiscally responsible for both parties? Like, that's why you need him. He's like, I know this inside out. I went to Harvard Law School. Like, I think that's a great person to make a business deal with, as opposed to trying to go against.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think that's the direction it's moving. And then on top of that, you need some sort of solution for the direction college sports are moving right now. And I think revenue sharing is going to help, but, like, you need a controlling power that can make decisions, say, hey, the transfer portal, this needs to change. Like, you get 1 free or 2 free or whatever. Like, you need that controlling power. So I feel like all of that is playing a part in what's currently happening between these two conferences because they're trying to find ways to gain control and do things, and they now have the power to do so because they're winning national championships. They're going to play games against one another. They're going to get the revenue up for everybody. Like the whole thing, that's what they have to move towards to solve some of those issues. Because I saw Hunter Hall in the chat. He said it's not going to be a win-win when high school kids don't have a place to go play after high school because athletes are staying in college until there isn't any schools that will pay them to play. I'm getting my 4th college degree, pay me to play football at my, at a, whatever school. Like, look, I get it. No, that is a legitimate conversation because it's a real thing that's happening. Like high school kids aren't getting the same opportunities, especially in some sports that aren't football, like basketball, like baseball, because there's guys that are sitting around and staying that usually wouldn't have. I think basketball is one that you see it on the most because the rosters are so small. Like that's something that needs to be solved. And the way you do that is you create a controlling power. And I feel like that's what the Big Ten and the SEC are moving towards. And you're seeing that more and more from the quotes of guys like Brian Kelly, like Greg Sankey, Scott Woodward, everyone around that are talking.
Have they really
Kelly winning?
Have they addressed the transfer portal at all?
No, it doesn't feel like it. I mean, the biggest thing right now is it comes up, but like, who is like if they were to address it, who is going? Like, who are they saying that towards? Like, are you telling
not only football too,
the governments to say something? Like, are you telling the Senate and the House of a state? Like, that's the thing right now is like who's in control of it to even solve the problem. So, like, if they were going to speak out on it, who are they going to tell to fix it? Like, I feel like the position they're in now is they want the power to be able to solve the issue. Like, they want the ability to say, this is a problem. We're hearing this is a problem. Our coaches are saying this is a problem. Now let's go solve it. We'll do that. But right now, like, who has the power to fix it?
Nobody, because it goes straight to. I mean, this is a legal decision. That's what you've seen them challenge it in the courts.
Right.
That's why college football or NCAA has washed its hands of it because every time we get taken to task, we lose, and they're trying to do the exact same thing that you would, I guess, want them to do. But I guess you could establish some sort of byline. But at this point, the rule is it goes against everything antitrust, and if they're going to rely on antitrust, you can't stop somebody from staying in school for 5 years, or 6 years, or 7 years. You get paid. You're prohibiting them from making money, and that's an antitrust violation. The only thing that would really stop it is if the coaches band together and said, we're not signing guys after 5 years. But there's not going to be a general consensus on that because I need a quarterback.
Right. I mean, you've seen it work where you go get a quarterback that's been playing college football for 4, 5, 6 years, and they somehow, are better because they're more experienced if they have the same talent level, so it's that to me is where this needs to move it needs to just be announced that the SEC and the Big Ten are becoming the, Petiti and Sankey are the head of college football. They're in control. Conference realignment, get everybody in these two conferences, do whatever you have to do. Somebody needs to be in control to solve these problems.
Well, there's no limitations. Right? There's no limitations.
Right, that's the issue.
Like we see, not even only in football, but now you have all these basketball coaches. I mean, take Matt McMahon and Kim Mulkey, for example. They're going international now, and they're using NIL internationally. Right. And we didn't think really ever that it would go to that. I didn't, at least. I didn't know that they were going to go handpick anyone internationally from these kids that are playing in professional leagues. That's another thing. So I mean, NIL's gotten to the point where there has been zero regulations to the point where it's like we said, it's the wild west.
Yeah, you could go sign people out of other professional leagues.
Yeah, it seems like a little unfair, but I mean that's just what it is.
Well, in the NIL stuff, you at least see some sort of like light at the end of the tunnel with revenue sharing coming in. That like maybe there will be a little bit more control put on it when there's a cap on the amount of revenue, like the money that can be shared out of getting away from the collectives and things like that. But the transfer portal to me right now is just like there's no control over it. You see people consistently. When they can't come back for their 6th or 7th year, they're taking it to court. Like every single decision that the NCAA is coming down with is being tested in a court right after it's announced, and like that's the problem right now is that there is no power and there's nobody in control. And at some point, that's going to have to change. That's going to have to give. And I feel like that's what Petiti and Sankey are moving towards. When you just listen to the way Sankey's speaking at spring meetings, I mean, they're moving towards some sort of agreement between the two to create, a controlling power in the sport and in the space.
Yeah, I guess
So,
that's the best way to do it is to form the league first and then say once you join, like, oh, these are the rules, by the way, for like players, and be like, oh, y'all aren't doing NIL the way, and then you can go play anywhere,
Right.
you can go play somewhere else, but it's a power play for sure because you are risking losing the best talent, and they'll go be spread out to other teams across the country that aren't in your league, but at the same, it'll be I guess it could be the purest form of the sport again.
Well, doing that, I feel like plays with the NCAA's money too. So when you piss off the NCAA, maybe they'll actually start to care.
I don't want them to care.
Maybe they'll start to listen, and there might be some sort of middle ground. Which I don't know if the NCAA, going back as far as the years, how corrupt they've been, and I don't know if they would do that or even be willing to. But if you piss them off and create the league, like we say, they will. I think that's a good thing because, one, you have your own thing, and if they're willing to listen, it's the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
in some sort of way.
I don't know.
I think that could end up happening, but
I have no clue.
The biggest thing to me is the butterfly effect it has on everything outside of football, right? Because we look at this more times than not out of a football lens. Like, we're looking at it as football and football only a lot of times when we're discussing it. Like, if it's going to happen, like at some point, like it's going to have a butterfly effect on the rest of the sports. Like, this can't be a ruling that comes down strictly just football. Like, that's not how things work. Like, it's going to have to be, well, basketball. Well, then if it's basketball, like Hunter Hall says in the chat, what's next with March Madness? If it's baseball, what's the effect it's going to have there? Because there's, those sports are so different. It's not as top heavy as football. Like, football is a top heavy sport. I think can be known. You can name 10 teams that the national champion is probably going to come out of that season, and you can even cut that number down to 6. Like, you could probably name 6 teams next year, and one of those 6 are probably going to win it. And in basketball and in baseball, you can't always do that. Now, like, you still have your perennial powers like Duke and Kansas and LSU in baseball, and your blue bloods that are consistently good, but there's so much more talent in the other conferences, the other schools, like, spread around more so than football, that it's going to have to that's the other thing to look at is the butterfly effect of what all it causes outside of football, because football is in charge. Like, football makes money. Football is what all of the SEC schools run off of, all the Big Ten schools run off of, and even more so, it's the 3rd most popular sport in the world. But when it comes to the American sports and the 3rd most popular league, it's NFL, NBA, and then college football. Like, it's more popular than the MLB. It's more popular than college basketball, college baseball. Go down the list, hockey, the whole deal. Like, college football is the 3rd most popular. It's what's in control, but there's going to be a butterfly effect on the rest of these schools, and that's what they kind of have to make sure stays in line. Is like, it's understood that as much as football needs to be in the right position, that's not always going to be the right decision for baseball and basketball and softball and women's basketball and volleyball and gymnastics. Like, that's where the next layer of it, and you'll really kind of find out what their mindset is based on how they handle it and the way they move forward. So
I don't think they care about any of those other sports. Like, no.
That's what I figured you would say.
Yeah, that's just what it is. Because when you look at all of these negotiations, like, you could take it as far as
money.
Yeah, you could go down to the list to whenever they conference realign that teams on the West Coast are going to go over to teams on the East Coast to row crew. Y'all figure it out. If you want to keep doing it. We're operating at a net loss for you. If you want to keep playing your sport, you can figure it out, or you can quit, or you can complain. But no, but it's falling on deaf ears. And so when it comes to football, that's a moneymaker. We're going to make decisions based on who brings in the most revenue. And if it's LSU versus Michigan on your schedule for a home and home, yeah, that plays. If Michigan doesn't want to come play in Alec Box, I don't even know if they have a baseball team. Like, y'all have to figure that out. Like, that's not – because the SEC will just play the SEC, and you can go around the country, do your out-of-conference games or whatever. But at the end of the day, it just comes down to, at least in SEC baseball, it comes down to your conference. That's what you end up playing for 3/4 of the year anyway. And so if you want to put in – if you do a Big Ten SEC, like, mega conference, it's just going to be the SEC playing against the SEC in baseball. And in basketball, it could get interesting. But the other, like, ancillary sports that nobody really watches or cares about, it's proven that they know that. Like, go row crew. Go row across the country. Make it something fun. I don't know. Go down the Allegheny. Do whatever you want. But we're going to play Ohio State versus Alabama. They're already doing Ohio State,
Stone
Texas
Musso
this
in
year.
the chat. Yeah, Stone Musso in the chat. Imagine if the SEC breaks off and LSU baseball can't go to Omaha, or, you know, that's like I'm saying, like even March Madness on top of that. Like, to me, those consequences are kind of a means to an end, you know, like where if the SEC and the Big Ten do break off and those consequences happen, that'll only be for a short period of time. Like at some point, push comes to shove, and they're going to have whatever, you know, the agreement becomes. Like the NCAA be like, okay, y'all are in charge, we're losing money, y'all run this, or whatever. Like, as much as that's, you know, consequence will suck. Like if LSU and the SEC, if the SEC and Big Ten break off, and there's no Omaha for, you know, LSU baseball or Vanderbilt or Tennessee or whoever, like, yeah, that would suck. But to me, that's a means to an end, right? Like you kind of roll with that consequence to, at some point, the you know, NCAA realizes it's losing money and comes back down to the table. But do you think that this could end up being like a Live Golf PGA situation where it's like, you know, the NCAA decides, hey, we're actually still making money with Omaha in the College World Series without SEC and Big Ten teams, and they don't.
There's no way
there's
no way they're making money. Like, LSU drives that thing. That's why whenever LSU, like, that's for Omaha, like that's their lifeblood for like half the year.
Yeah.
And it's like Walt Disney. Like,
They
this thing
root
needs to
for
be
LSU.
open.
Yeah,
they're openly LSU fans because of how much LSU travels. And I don't know how much money they make as an NCAA, the entity, how much money that makes regardless of the College World Series. I know that their biggest nut is March Madness. Like, that's where they make all their hay for college basketball. Because for college football, it's already broken off. The CFP is different from NCAA. Like, that's where the trophy looks weird. Like, it's not they don't hold up a wooden plaque. They hold up it was either a crystal ball, or then it was whatever this thing is now, that it feels very much like corporate. But they're already starting to do the split. And if there was a middle ground, it would be football, go do your own thing. We're tired of dealing with it, because I don't know how they were making money off of it anyway. If they weren't in the college football playoff, they're not a part of like the revenue split when it comes to the money and the TV deals, then I would say football, go do your own thing. We'll keep baseball, basketball, all the other ancillary sports, and run them as they were.
Yeah, I agree with Lloyd.
That would be the best way forward.
Yeah, I agree with Lloyd. I mean, like, football is entirely different, like you said, but when you start to mess with, like, what has been done for so many years,
athletics.
Yeah, there's no more college athletics. Like, you're messing with, I mean, the way everyone has operated for so many years, and football is just it's always been the outlier, like you guys said, and it's always going to keep changing, just because that's what it is. It's the money maker. It's the other, like you said, the NCAA doesn't care about the other sports as much as football, and so they're probably going to leave everything else as it is, which is fine. But when you start playing with football, that's when it becomes a problem, and that's why it's a mess right now. And nobody knows what is the future for college football, and it's scary, to be honest, because I mean, when we were kids, I mean, like, you lose the love of the game watching it now, knowing it's a business.
Oh, I mean, that's like, well, it's like Christmas.
I mean,
like,
we
once
still
you realize
watch it.
what
Yeah,
it
but
is, you're like, this isn't nearly as special.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I grew up watching computers make the decision for who was going to the college, to the national championship. It was a number system that Brian Kelly wants to get back to. He was like, it doesn't need to be strictly analytically driven, but there does need to be some components of it that don't just look at a versus B type.
It can't just all be eye test.
Right, and that's
and looking at records.
But and that's where I think that
RPI is a little
yeah,
weird
you want
in
to do
football, right?
yeah, he's like, there's not enough metrics for RPI because it's such a short sample size. Like, you only play, 12 games, 13 games in college football?
12 games, yeah.
Yeah, and if they wanted to add one, like, it's impossible to compare apples to oranges, and that's what they're already trying to do with conferences. Like, your conference schedule versus our conference schedule, that's what they're doing in college baseball, and it's like, LSU's the number one team in the country, but their RPI is 8. Like that, I don't want to go down that road where LSU's undefeated in football. Like, well, your RPI is 15. It's like, how did you get to that number? So I don't want to play that game, but there does need to be some sort of, I guess, statistical-driven model that shows something that would be able to bear fruit as opposed to, 18 people in a room trying to make a decision that they're like, I don't know how much ball you watch. It's like it becomes.
Well, I mean, this argument centers around like SMU and Boise State, right? Like when you look at the playoff last year, it's like, was SMU really better than Ole Miss or South Carolina or Alabama? Was Boise State really better than any of those teams? Like that's what the argument was. When Cincinnati got in,
the straight
were they really better than
things.
whoever the 5 or 6 team best team was? Like as much as straight seeding, can fix it. I mean, you're still judging these guys. Like SMU got in because of straight seeding. They were a top 10 team because of what they did in their conference, even though when you look at their schedule, they didn't play anything that was really that moving and had just lost their conference championship game right before they got in. And and then go down the list, like Penn State, like they didn't play a grueling Big Ten schedule, but they were able to get in because their record was good. And they, even though they lost a game, that was the one real team they played, and they ended up dropping that game to Ohio State or whoever. Like, that's where the argument comes in. Like, straight seeding can solve some of the issue, but like we still have to understand how they're seeding. Like, straight seeding, I'm for. Like, don't give automatic bids to conference champions just because they won their conference. Like, that doesn't always mean that they rightfully should get in.
I agree with that.
But I'm cool with straight seeding, but how are you going to seed? Like, are you just like what tells you that those are the top 16 teams or the top 12 teams?
At some point, your conference championship will have some weight on straight seeding, like where we seed you because you won your conference championship. They'll never get rid of that or the idea of it because you want to keep that to be important at the end of the year where, hey, if you're a part of a conference championship, if you win your conference championship, this could put you in. This could put you in and move you up in the rankings, or it could bump you out. Like, that'll still bear weight, but also it depends. Like, if you're 8-4 and win your conference championship, I don't think you're in anymore. That's what it eliminates. But the person that has the best model, and it's usually the guy that has the person that has the most, I would say, very forward thinking, but also the simplest ideas at times where it looks like this is dumb. Like the cynic in the room, Lane Kiffin, his idea of 16 teams straight seeded is the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Like his model is perfect
especially when the SEC is complaining about not getting enough teams in. That fixes everything. 16 teams right there, and you do the best teams, so the other conferences don't have to worry about a thing either because they should get some of their good teams in too. But that's what it is. If you're playing better teams, you should be rewarded. And you shouldn't be necessarily punished for a one-score loss, right? Like,
and you start looking at a win and loss column, and I know that sounds like it should be a deciding factor, but you have, like, if you're Ole Miss, Alabama last year, where you have a Kentucky game, that's the outlier for Alabama, and it's if you don't lose that game, you're in, and that's how it should. It bears weight during a regular season, but it could bear weight on the seeding process, and now you're looking at like March Madness, but a very, I guess, cut down version of it with 16 teams. Like, no, I'll read you these teams. This would have been Lane Kiffin's matchup last year, and tell me which ones. Like, tell me where it sounds wrong.
Got it.
Number 16, Clemson at number 1, Oregon.
Okay.
Number 9, Boise State at number 8, Indiana. Number 12, Arizona State at number 5, Notre Dame. Number 13, Miami at number 4, Penn State. Number 14, Ole Miss at number 3, Texas. Number 11, Alabama at number 6, Ohio State. Number 10, SMU at number 7, Tennessee. Number 15, South Carolina at number 2, Georgia. Like, tell me where you don't want to watch any of those.
That's
Yeah.
And that's
No,
the
I
thing.
mean that. Yeah, that
And everybody
sounds,
got in.
That sounds great.
Yeah, everybody got in, and you can't at this point. You can't complain about SEC teams having to play each other. It's going to happen if you're doing the 16 team, but it's more entertaining to watch.
1, 2, 3,
Yeah,
4,
I mean, look,
5,
if they do
Six
this,
SEC teams,
yeah, 6 SEC,
this
SEC teams got in.
16 team straight seeding, I don't see them moving towards a 9-game conference schedule though.
Yeah, I think that's two different
like
conversations.
Yeah, that's another conversation though.
Yeah, but they still play. They go hand in hand. Like the only way they change the conference schedule is if the college football playoff looks a certain way.
Right.
I would do it. I would
they're-
probably still play that schedule if it was like that.
Yeah. What do you? Why
Is
would
that-
you change your
Well,
schedule?
because I mean, then you're risking more losses on a straight seeding model. Like, don't get me wrong. Like I understand that it's encompassing 16 teams, the best 16, whatever. You're adding a Big Ten game and another SEC game to your schedule every year. You're adding potentially more losses when it's just straight seeding, which means like you could have multiple teams with 4 losses that don't get in,
right.
and like like that to me, like coaches aren't going to want to do that if it's straight seeding. Like if that's the risk and there's no like understanding of
Contingency plan.
SEC teams get 4 teams in. Like it's 16 teams. You have 4 conferences. The 4 conferences each get 4 teams in, or whatever it's built like. Like they're not going to move towards a tougher schedule if the seeding model looks like that. In my opinion, like I don't foresee coaches wanting to do that.
Yeah, I could see it both ways. Where if you're anti-SEC or you're in a different conference and you're like you're guaranteed 4 spots, like what if what if it's 4 teams that don't deserve to get in or 2 teams that don't deserve to get in? But that would be the outlier in my mind. I would imagine like last year even would have been the closest to if you're guaranteed 4 spots, you'd have been like, oh, I don't know if LSU, I don't know if the SEC deserves 4 spots, but then you could go back and look at it. You're like, I think Ole Miss should have been in, and you could make an argument for Alabama. But I also do want to see teams punished for if you drop a home game against Kentucky or Oklahoma, and it's like, oh, you don't deserve to be here. But that's the 16
right, and
part
that's
of
the
it.
thing. Like, and they were talking about it the other day. Like, if you play the 68th team, the 68th ranked team in the country, or 65th, I'll say 65th. You play the 65th ranked team in the country. That's the same as playing the 130th and the first. Like because it all evens out the same way. Like if they're moving towards a straight seeding model, I don't think they're going to want to play tougher games, especially when they know on the horizon,
you could
if they get in, is more tougher games. Like why would I play 9 SEC games when I can just turn around and face the SEC again once I get to the postseason?
Yeah,
right?
The only problem with that is just the other conferences would I don't know, they would not like that at all. They would
I mean,
revolt.
wins and losses have to.
They have to
losses
matter.
are still going to mean something. They have to matter. Like it can't just be we want the teams with the best players in. Like if Alabama has the best players but they lost 4 games, like sorry, like there maybe you can have a conversation about it, but I don't think a bunch of 8-4 teams should be getting in. And if the SEC moves towards a 9-game conference schedule, we saw what it looked like last year. You'll have your outliers, your 2-3 teams that are going to have 1 loss, 2 loss, maybe 3 losses.
I guess
You add another game to that schedule plus a Big Ten game, you're going to have more 4 or 5 loss teams.
right. It moves the number from 3 to 4 or 2. Yeah, 3 you're out, or if you lose 2 games, you feel like you're still in. Now, if you lose 4 games, you feel like you might have a chance. And competition gets better, but also I'm sure there's a lot of SEC bias even in the room where they're like,
right,
I'll play Rutgers. I'll play, insert Big Ten team here, where it's like, yeah, let's go play. I'll play them in any sport, anytime. And I'm sure that's
right. And it also comes down to scheduling. Like if Alabama and LSU get Rutgers and Minnesota, and Ohio State and Michigan get, Vanderbilt and
Arkansas,
Mississippi State. Like it comes down to who they put on the schedule. But like if I'm Texas and if I'm playing a 9-game conference schedule, I'm not scheduling Ohio State as my Big Ten team. Like Why would I?
It would have to be like a rotated. It would be the luck of the
Right.
draw, and it's like, who'd you get on your
There
schedule?
would have to be some sort of like it. You can't just that to me is where those two arguments go hand in hand. Of like, if we want more we want one more SEC game and one more regular season game because the coaches do, the ADs do, like the SEC even does. But they're not going to do that if they're not guaranteed to get into the college football playoff. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to play 10 games that are tough. 10 of my 12 games are against
All
SEC and
losable.
Big Ten opponents, all losable, and I'm not guaranteed a spot in that college football playoff.
Right.
Because then like
It
we
doesn't
could have-
eliminate the problem of Boise State and
right.
I guess you could say Arizona State, where it's like you're not playing what we're doing over here. We're playing a different sport.
And so those things to me go hand in hand. Like depending on what the college football playoff structure looks like, because I'm for that seeding model. I just think if that's the seeding model, the schedule's not going to change because the coaches would be, I don't want to say stupid, but kind of stupid to change their schedule to a more difficult schedule if the seeding model is going to change. Like, not completely stupid because I can see it. Like, more teams are going to get in. The eye test or whatever, strength of schedule is going to matter more. Like, those things all play in your favor, but wins and losses still have to mean something. Like, I get that losing to Georgia, if they're undefeated, won't mean as much as losing to Kentucky, but
It will.
you still
Like
lost.
it won't at
Like,
the end of
it
the
still
day.
has to matter.
Like it'll
Right.
eliminate the upset version of this. It'll be like college basketball, where it's like, oh, huge home loss, and then you look at it at the end of the year, it's like, oh, that doesn't really bear any weight anymore. Like that's kind of where you got to last year, even where it was, God, that you would think that would matter, right? And it's like, no, not really.
Like Michigan beating Ohio State. Like, you would think, hey, like that
Last
should mean
game of the
something.
year.
Yeah, huge, right? And it didn't mean
And the only thing it meant was that they had to play an extra playoff game and had to beat like that's the only thing it really
At
meant
home.
was they didn't get a bye.
Right. Yeah,
they played Tennessee in the shoe. Like,
They got a better bid.
Yeah, that's what's going to make me miss
Right.
the 4-team playoff, just because you want a system that, like, no matter what, losses mean everything, right? Like, when you lose, you want to feel like, oh, we have no
Season's
shot.
over.
Right, exactly. Now it's not like that, and I feel like that takes away a little bit from college football.
Week to week, everything
right,
matters.
like how everything matters. Every single game means something. I think when you do the 16 team or 14 team, now we're at the 12, so it still feels like that. It feels like every week doesn't matter as much. And even when you're getting to the playoffs, it's not, we're not seeing the crazy quality of games, but it is what it is. Like it is a money thing at the end of the day. And if you're going to do it, you might as well put 16 because it doesn't matter how many losses you have, even with 12 now, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, you were still going, and that's what's funny about college football. You could still talk because I was in your camp of like whenever it was just you're playing for a national championship and that's it.
Yeah.
And then it got to the 14 playoff and it felt like you had to live and die with it. Still, you were still living
every
and dying
game,
just
dude.
to get there. Like 2019, it still felt that way.
Yeah.
Like if you lost to Alabama,
that Ole
what's going
Miss
to happen?
game
Ole
in
Miss.
Oxford.
Yeah. Hell, when Auburn came to LSU, it was
Right.
like, oh, this feels a little weird. But you felt like you couldn't lose.
Right.
With this, what they're doing is they're tricking you into having the same thinking. Like you'll still think that way because when
You want to get in. Yeah.
you want to get in.
Yeah.
And now it's expanded the people that are going to attend games farther down the road because in the previous models in week 10, if you had 3 losses, not as many people are going to go. But if you still have a shot to get into the playoff and it's a home game, you're damn right people are going to show up because you still have a chance and it matters.
Right.
And so at the end of the day, it still matters, but it just doesn't. You can still walk out the stadium now and feel like, oh, you're going to be okay, as opposed to you walked out and wanted to kill yourself.
Yeah.
it's not as palpable for every single game.
Right.
Like before, you could feel the stress every single game, and like so I'm still going to be stressed regardless.
Mm-hmm.
But like you could still feel the stress on every single game because you couldn't lose it. Like now, it's going to take a second to get to that point where you're stressed. You know, like that's.
Yeah, you wouldn't feel.
You have to lose 2-3 games to actually feel stressed watching a game.
Yeah,
Like,
if there was a 16-team
It's not
model,
as
we wouldn't
palpable.
be talking about Clemson the way that we are right now. It'd be like, oh, you could drop
No,
one, you
not
could
at
drop
all.
2.
Well, and you can still look at it right now with the model that's had and say, okay, you can lose to Clemson and you're just fine. Like you could lose to Clemson and Alabama, you're in.
Yeah.
You know, you lose to Clemson and Florida and you're in.
And
like
that's what's
you can still talk yourself into that.
That's what's fair about it. I guess if you're an SEC team, we're like, yeah, I would like to be able to account for more losses because you're playing in a schedule that you're not going to win every game. It's very rare that you see a team blow through their conference schedule anymore, where like what you saw in 2019 and then Alabama in 2020. And it was like, these are far and away, all Alabama did was play conference games, but they were blowing people out. Right. It's like, okay, this is an easy, like they're better than everybody else. Now it feels, certainly within the last 2-3 years, where LSU can lose to Texas A&M with a Heisman winner.
Yeah, there's more parity.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's good. That's what I'm saying. You want to be able to buy yourself more time, but there is a sense of nostalgia where we were, we have to be ready for change. Because then you look at an NFL model, and I'm sure in 2007, when you had the undefeated Patriots go against the New York Giants who snuck in on a wild card berth, but then they win the Super Bowl against a team that was undefeated, and it was like a 14-point spread at the Super Bowl, and everybody was on the wrong side of it. Like, it creates that amount of, like, don't just look at wins and losses. If you get hot at the right time or you're constructed to beat certain teams, that's still what football is. And so you'll still find yourself buying in. But, yeah, like, I don't know if people will be traveling nearly as much for early home games, and, like, tailgating won't be the same, it feels like. But later on, if you give me 2 playoff games at home, whew, give me that.
Yeah.
No, like the regional, like people are already showing up for Alec Box tomorrow.
Of course.
That's what makes college great.
That's what makes college sports. Like you're still going to get that same feeling if you make it. It's just there's a lot of moving pieces, and like the crazy, it's only going to get messier before they really find an avenue that they're a lane that they're gonna moving forward.
You're watching like theories play out in real time. Like, nope, that doesn't work. Like, that's already happened. Like, scrap whatever we did last year. That's not working. People are pissed. Like, okay.
Yeah, like they just did the process of elimination on a college football playoff
right in front of your eyes.
Setup. Like they did it and they said, we're not doing that ever again. Because it was a flop. Like when you watched it last year, like as great as it was to have more weekends of college football, and there were some, like Texas versus Arizona State was a heck of a game. Like SMU versus Penn State was bad. Like, go down the list. Tennessee versus Ohio State was bad. Oregon versus Ohio State was bad. Like,
and Oregon Ohio State should have been good.
Like, it should have been great, but they had already played each other.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something that you're never going to truly get away from. And really, like, if they move to the straight seeding model, like the 16 you just read off, on top of like if they play a 9-game conference schedule, like they're going to see each other again. So it's like, like that. Those things are going to happen, but like. They just did process of elimination. Now they're going to try something else this year where it's just straight seeding 12 teams, and they're going to say, okay, we need more. So it's going to be straight seeding 16 teams. They're going to be like, okay, well, this was wrong with that. Like, when are we going to land on just one, right?
Well, I think that what they're doing is they might have a plan, and they're going to let the people find the answer.
Play it?
Yeah, they're going to let the people find the answer that they already have all along, and they're going to get to be the big winners of a 16-team playoff, like expand it, because everybody's going to pound the table. Why did my team get in? Wait, no, this isn't the right way. This is the right way, and they're like, good, y'all get more football, we get more money. Like, that's the way that they probably want it to work. Like, here, we'll give you more. And then, I mean, if you tried to do this in 2012 or 20, you could even go 2018. Like, whenever it was concussions and player health and school and all of these things, like, that shit went out the window long ago. Like, we don't even talk about that anymore. Like, you can't add more football to these poor student athletes. Like, no, line it up and play. And if you're not going to play here, you can go play somewhere else. Well, you got to pay me to do it. It's like, oh, we got here quickly. But I think that this is all a big, like, slow play of, watch, they're going to end up on the result that we want without us having to do anything. Oh, this is what you want? We changed it.
So we appreciate everybody's involvement in the chat, being involved, talking it up with us. Appreciate y'all being here and joining us here as we are still international this week before I come back home and get ready for some LSU regional postseason baseball in the box this weekend. My flight is during game time on Friday, so I'll have to get home and rewatch it, but I'll do that so we can be ready to go for the rest of the weekend. We are rolling right into hour number 2 this morning. I appreciate you guys being with us. We're going to take a quick break, reset. We'll be back to start off or to continue on 8 a.m. right after this.
Put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big stepper, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Grind all week, now let's get the money. I'm in that mode, yeah, you know I'm coming. Automatic, I'ma bet on me and my team. Twice on Sunday, got it out the mud, so I'm battle Texas, what it's overtime. Too legit to quit, I'ma move my feet like it's hammer time. We got most of the time to make some moves. All the smoke, we don't pick and choose. I'm here now, I done pay my dues. Can't pour to me, ain't no switching crew. Blood, sweat, and tears, time to put it in this. I know that you hoping I stop. Can't touch me, I know you hoping I flop. Big stepping all the way to the top. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big stepper, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard, man, I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose.
Pressure to your job, but everywhere I go, they are fired up about the Tigers this year.
And I am too. I mean, I'm bullish on this team as well. And look, every coach that's here believes they've got the best team they've ever had. You know, so you leave these meetings, Paul, and you think, is there a chance I could win a game? But we know our roster. This is the best roster that we've put together. It's part of a process that has taken a little more time than we wanted, but we're doing it the right way, and we're pretty excited about what our football team looks like.
And I mean, it starts with Garrett Nussmeier.
Yeah.
I alluded to him off the air to you about his season. I mean, there were some really great moments. There were some awkward moments, as there always are. What I'm in a different state, in a different time zone. What has changed with him, or is it just the maturation and the people and the pieces around him?
I think you're right. I think it's the maturation. I think weapons around him obviously make a big difference. And I think in this league, as you know, being a first-time starter is so difficult. So difficult. And his ability to overcome some of the setbacks that he had, win our last 3 games where he really played at a high level, that's going to continue. He had a great spring. He got a chance to really blend with the new receivers that we have and the weapons that we've added. I just think he's going to have a great year going into year 2.
I know you're interested in how he plays this year and obviously his future, but in talking to some NFL people, I know you talk to a lot more than I do. I mean, they love him.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think we all know about his background, right? He's a coach's son. He's somebody that's been around the game. So I think when you look at quarterbacks, you want to see that kind of football IQ. He's a learner of the game. He always is looking to be curious about something new. Then he's got arm talent and anticipation. He can make those tight window throws that the NFL coaches really like, and GMs. I just think that, he's the complete package when it comes to that.
Can't touch me, I know you hoping I flop. Big stepping all the way to the top. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes. I've been giving L's like I know love and I can't lose. For myself, man, I can't lose. For my family, man, I can't lose. I grind hard and I can't lose. I'm stacking days, man, I can't lose. Big stepping, we can never put on the same shoes.
It's underway here. What you got?
I put on your microphone, like 2, instead of turning you up on here. But now you're back. I was like, wait, I can't hear him. That was my fault.
All right, welcome back. No, it's all right. It's all right. It's just you're a creature of habit.
Old
Lloyd.
habits
You're a
die
creature
hard.
of habit. But
And I'll do it the other way whenever you
That's
get
why-
back.
Of course. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us this morning. We are back here, hour number 2 officially underway. Appreciate everybody hanging out and discussing some of the college football format, college football playoff format, college football, everything here in hour number 1. We're going to turn the discussion to a little more LSU-centric, more LSU-focused. Similar discussion, though, like how, if we really sit and look at it, we're looking at the college football playoff and what it's going to look like next year. Like, so as opposed to what it was this past season, where you have the 4 automatic bids, and you have the group of 5 team gets in. Now it's just straight seeding. It's your top 12 team. As a LSU fan, if you're in the chat, are you for or against the new seeding model and how it'll affect LSU? Lloyd, Andre, what are y'all's thoughts?
I'm for it. I like it just because that means they're going to look at quality of losses when it comes down to the season. And I think LSU could be a team that only loses about 2 games. And when you look at those 2 games, it's not going to be, probably scrub. It'll be a ranked team, if I had to guess. And so I think it will greatly benefit them. And I think we could see LSU this year, at least if they get 2 losses, they're going to be around that 11 or 12 mark. So I think they're going to be able to get in with the straight seeding, and I think it'll help SEC teams in general with those kind of problems of not getting in. But we'll see. 12 teams it's 12. You'd kind of rather it be 14, in my opinion, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think when you get when the number gets higher, obviously the better you feel about it. Like when the number gets to 14 or 16, whatever, you obviously feel better because it's more teams getting in. With it being 12 teams for LSU, I think it's a win because when you look at the schedule, like LSU right now, if it's 12 teams straight seeding, you would believe 2 losses and possibly even 3 could make you comfortable enough to get in. If you and on LSU's schedule, when you look at it, I can see at most 3 losses. And so if that's what you see, and that's how you feel, and those losses are to an Alabama team in Tuscaloosa that's got a really good record, a Clemson team in Clemson with a really good record, and then an Ole Miss team in Oxford with a good. When you kind of weigh it out, I think LSU should be all about the straight seeding model, especially going into next season, because that's what this season is. Like we've said it plenty of times, and Brian Kelly doubled down on it as he spoke at SEC spring meetings, in that this is a playoff or bust season. Like this is the most talented roster he's had. This is what the process has led to, that this team has to make that next step of making it to the college football playoff. And I think that the timing of the straight seeding model for 12 teams getting in could not have happened at a better time for where LSU is. So I think if you are a supporter of the Tigers and you are LSU, you should feel more comfortable with the fact that now it is 12 teams straight seeding, and you're not going to have teams jump in there that might not deserve it because they won a conference championship or something like that.
That's where it's hasn't changed. Well, as much as things change, they stay the same, because the 5 highest ranked conference champions are still guaranteed a spot in the 12-team field. They're just not guaranteed a bye anymore. So you will still have spots being taken by Boise State, by whoever won the ACC, by whoever won the Big 12 or the Pac-12, or I guess they're independent. I don't know. Like if Oregon State makes a run,
the Notre Dames might not get.
Well, now they
will get that bye.
Well, now they have the opportunity to get a bye. They weren't eligible to get a bye last year because they were independent, but they were still eligible for the playoffs.
Yeah, Notre Dame's always going to be in. Like they don't have to play.
It got better for Notre Dame. Now they can have a bye.
Yeah.
But as far as more opportunity for LSU, I don't think that happened because you still have conference champions that are going to take up a spot.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really change anything.
If the conference champions can still jump in and take a spot, then it's the same deal.
Yeah.
But I still think LSU, it doesn't change the expectation. But yeah, if the conference champions are still getting a guaranteed spot, an automatic bid for getting in, then I think LSU sits in a pretty similar spot.
Right. And because was it 12 teams last year?
Yeah, it was 12 teams, automatic bids. They just got buys.
But now you're just looking at the right team getting the right
bye,
the bye,
basically.
And so now you're actually playing for something as opposed to last year. And Hunter Hall said this, and I have a question that he super chatted us that I want to read after this. But he was the one that was saying, why are people playing for a bye when it, like in the SEC, if you came in, if you didn't win your conference but you were still the highest ranked team to not, all you did was get a home game, like against the worst ranked seed. And so it's really no different than a bye. Like, fine, we get to play more football. Right. You get for the fan, it's the best of both worlds. You're in the tournament. You get a home game against a team that you're probably going to kick the shit out of, and now you get momentum rolling into the playoff where you become the scarier team. Like that's what, that's where that was wrong, I guess. And I guess it alleviates some of that, but that's still on the table for, because now it's off the table because conference champions aren't allowed to get a bye. Like that's who got the shortest end of the stick was Oregon last year.
Oh yeah.
Like,
No, they got a bye, and they had to play against an Ohio State team that just beat Tennessee at home.
Right, and they were. This is that Ohio State team that after the Michigan loss is like, where are you? And they come out and start playing like that. Woke them up in a sense, and it's like, oh, this is
inspired football.
Yeah, this is what they paid for, and it's like, oh, you ran into a buzzsaw when Oregon was undefeated. Last year, going into the college football playoff, and then you lose in the first game you play in the playoff. Like that probably was like, this shit sucks. But let me get to Hunter Hall's question real quick because it was
let's hear it.
A good one. And this is going back to a little bit of what we were talking about earlier. SEC championship game weekend. Make it a conference playoff. 1 and 2 are in no matter what. 3 host 6 and 4 host 5. SEC gets their 4 teams in. Get Tingle and Co to 10K. So, I mean, that would be
Amen.
Like, you would be able to play more. You'll probably see all those teams again, but it would kind of clear some of, like, you're essentially playing for a spot. That's how good that is. The SEC is almost worth it in that, and it takes away you want guaranteed spots? Like, play a tournament for them. You have them guaranteed, but we'll see who gets, like, you'll decide who gets in on the field.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I
don't think they'll ever do that.
Just because the season's so long.
No, I don't think so either.
I wouldn't.
I mean, it would have to cut into the season,
your actual season,
considerably.
Yeah.
Like I mean,
it would have to be an
in-game season
or in-conference.
Be the NBA tournament.
In-season conference tournament. Yeah, that's essentially what it would be. That would be.
I mean, you would just. Well,
my goodness,
that's where like the logistics of it get messy. Of like, well, how do you even find who the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 top seeds are when they're only playing 4 conference games a season because you have to cut into it before they play this tournament. You know, like that's like logistics, and I'm glad that's not my job to have to figure that out. I'm not getting paid to do that, so I'm not going to try. But I wouldn't be like. You have to find a way to make conference championship games mean something.
Yep.
You know, like you don't want to get to a point where like you see teams start skipping out on Atlanta or whatever. Like say they or, you know, just packing it up and throwing their third stringers out there and letting them run around and, you know, staying safe for what's next. Like you want those games to still mean something because Atlanta's awesome. You want to make it to an SEC championship game. You want to have SEC championships on your wall, but like you don't want to get to a point where teams just don't want to play that. Like,
right.
And at some point, like that potentially could be a thing. I mean, you're playing 9 conference games, a 10th game against a Big Ten conference team, and you could get into a 16 straight seeding college football playoff. You got to throw another, SEC championship game in there that could, like,
and that's
where all the logistics go up and down.
That's the other side of it is now people want to get rid of the SEC championship game if you move to this format, and I don't think they'll ever do that.
No.
Hunter Hall wants to expand it. Now people want to get rid of it.
I mean, I remember when Coach Kelly told us he was talking about the conference championship game last year, and he was basically saying like, whoever wins it is a big deal because you're most likely getting that bye, and now that's not a thing anymore. So you're punishing.
But you still get in.
I mean,
like
you're still
automatically getting in.
But you're playing an extra 2 games? Is it?
Well, you were and if you
Or
win
an extra
last
game
year,
or
if
two?
you won your conference championship, you were getting a bye. That was the
Right.
that was the
Yeah,
trade-off.
Exactly. And so now, I mean, you should be getting the bye as far as SEC teams go. But I guess that will make the SEC championship game a little more meaningful because these teams will want to play for a bye. The season is so long now, as far as college football goes. It's been extended to the point where, I mean, that's physically exhausting for those kids. You got to remember, these are kids playing, and the injuries take a toll. I mean, you're losing guys left and right some years, and it's a lot. So I'm just basically saying it's something to worry about as far as if you're playing more football, how many games in conference do you really need? I mean, I think 8 is fine personally, but
No, I think you can see where the impetus of change is coming. I don't think they care about player health at all.
Yeah. They want money. They don't care about what's going on with the
and
players.
they've eliminated they eliminated people caring about that when they started paying them.
Yeah, and now the fan base is like, oh, he got hurt. That's okay. He got $5 million for that.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I mean, you're getting your medical bills are paid for, and you're getting money on top. Like, they completely removed that thought process from the common fan. Like, obviously, there's still the intelligent fan that's going to be like, no, I mean, they're still hurt. Like, the kids are going to be hurting, but like just the common fan, everybody out there, like, oh, well, I mean, that's part of the sport. They're getting paid for it. They're professional athletes now. Like, Damian Lillard tore his Achilles. All of those things are going to continue to go on. But I do think that should play a factor. Like, I'm for that. Like, I don't think these kids should have to play 30 college football games in a calendar year, because that's detrimental to your physical health. But I don't think that the powers that be are taking that into consideration at all. Like, and they've removed the fans' thought process from that by paying them, like by giving them the NIL deals and letting them make money off of their ability to play the sport. That's taken the fans' argument away from that front.
Actually, they've actually stumbled into something genius.
Oh, you think so?
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. From just a sheer perspective of like they're taking no heat for any of this. Like, add more games.
Right.
Player health is off the table. It's like it's not even their money. It's crowdfunded. Like, they're not paying anything.
Yeah, I mean, they're getting it from boosters. Like,
yeah.
if the boosters
So
money.
I'm saying, like, that's like y'all are nuts. I love it. We'll add more games. Y'all don't care. Y'all won't pay them.
Keep doing it.
We're getting all of the benefit from this, but you're happy if your team wins. It's like, yeah, we know what we signed up for.
Except now there's revenue sharing coming down the line, which is going to
and then they're like, well, add a game,
bit,
and that'll take care of revenue sharing.
Yeah. So, but the thing for LSU is that if you're LSU and it's a straight seeding model, conference champions still get in. How confident are you, Lloyd, of when you look at the schedule for LSU this season?
I mean, I think there's a world in which LSU wins the conference. Like, I don't know who would think otherwise. If you go, like, we haven't even had that conversation about LSU. It's been,
right.
2 losses get you in, and now if you're obviously guaranteed a spot, if we win the SEC, it's not guaranteed with a bye, but guaranteed a spot. That's where you almost pivot from that Clemson conversation. If you do lose that game, it becomes win the SEC. Mm-hmm. And I think LSU has never been in a better spot to win the SEC when you look around the conference of quarterbacks coming back versus what LSU has coming back, what you did in the portal versus what everybody else did in the portal. Like, this has always been an SEC conversation, but now you can eliminate a lot of that doubt if you're able to find your way into the SEC championship game and obviously win it. But even if you get there, it feels like LSU would still very comfortably be in, because what's the real conversation? It's not like it was for baseball. You have to be this seed to be able to do that. It's literally just get there. And if LSU is in a spot where they're playing for a conference championship, I think people will be happy if you win or lose it regardless, because you're probably in the dance.
Okay, well then here's my next question. There's multiple teams tied at 10-2 in the conference. Mm-hmm. And there's a couple, there's 1 11-1 team or whatever. LSU gets in the SEC championship game at 10-2 against the 11-1 team and loses. So they're now 10-3. Mm-hmm. Do those other 2 10-2 teams jump LSU now that LSU has a third loss because they played in the conference championship game?
I think you have.
In y'all's opinion, does that happen?
I think you have to look at how much did they lose by, how close was that conference championship loss, and then you have to look at all 3 of these teams as kind of ranked wins and their losses, and I think you have to compare the two. But if LSU loses close in a conference championship and they're at 3 losses, they've got to be in my opinion.
Well, that's my thing. Yeah. This is my thought. Like,
or any SEC team.
Why wouldn't LSU or whoever say, let's eliminate that conversation entirely and not play in the game and sit at 10-2 and just bet on where we're currently seated. We're seated behind them already. We're in. Like, why would I play in that game with the potential of a third loss making me look bad?
I guess that you would have to be the first team ever to say we're not playing the SEC championship game, and then you don't know.
Is that the only?
But they would probably
consequence.
No, I think they would form a coup against you and say if you don't play, you're not in.
Yeah,
like those are the closed doors conversations.
No, I mean obviously, I agree. I wouldn't be surprised if that's something that becomes a thing.
Now, if you wanted to play in the game and sit all of your starters and leave room for all sorts of, like, that wasn't even, like, if you don't start Garrett Nussmeier, if Harold Perkins and Weeks aren't out there, it's like we feel very confident that we're in. You've seen the committee send messages before, though, where, like, even Florida State, you lose your best player, you're out. And if they're like, oh, you're going to treat this like you're already in, you're not. Yeah. And they would put one of those other teams in that are doing the same thing you are, but they didn't try to make a statement as to how confidently they are in. And there's also another world where they replace you with one of those teams that are behind you, and they go in and win, and now you're definitely out.
Yeah, but I mean, so what if you decide to sit out and be one of those teams that's sitting and waiting?
I think they would pull from one of the
teams. What happens?
They would pull from one of those teams that you were tied with, or that was second behind you. They would put them in the championship game. If you made it very obvious that we're not playing, they would go, well, but we're playing this game.
And they'll award that team that loses.
That's what I'm saying. If they would reward that team, certainly if they won, and be like, who wants a chance to go to the college football playoff? Put your hand up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
but it would be unprecedented.
I don't think we're far off from teams throwing that thing out. I just don't think we're far off from teams throwing that idea out there.
No, certainly in the SEC.
Like, I don't think it's going to happen.
No.
But, like, I just wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, it's the conversation that, like, it always comes up around championship season whenever –
of course.
Like, whenever LSU was in that conversation of if they win it, should they be in? Whenever they had 3 losses and they played against Georgia, it's like, if you win this game, are you going to be able to, like, sneak your way into the college football playoff? And people were having that conversation. Obviously, LSU didn't win, but that was a real conversation point of, damn, your SEC champion, you're going to leave them out? And
when they lost to Georgia, right?
Yeah, then they lost to Georgia. But I would imagine it depends on how the rest of the league works, because LSU's schedule sets up favorably to where you play, whether it's an out-of-conference game before a big game or a bye week before a big game. Like, you really, if you look at it in totality, LSU should be in a spot where they're in a college, an SEC championship, because I'm looking down the list, like, the odds are Texas at plus 240. These are just to win the SEC championship. Texas at plus 240, Georgia at plus 380, Alabama at plus 380, Texas A&M at plus 1,000, LSU plus 1,000. So you're the same. You and Texas A&M are tied, and that's what the league thinks of you. Or that's what public perception is of you, is that you're the 5th best option to win the SEC championship.
Yeah. I want to say it was like that in 19, though. Like, LSU wasn't heavily favored when coming into the season. But they always do that. It seems like last year they did the same thing.
Yeah, but the expectations are different this year than they were going into 19. Like, don't get me wrong.
No, I
around
agree.
LSU, looking at the roster in 2019, you thought, okay, there's potential. But what happened in 19 was unprecedented, because nobody expected Burrow to make that leap. You didn't, like, all of the things that kind of fell in place. Nobody really talked about the Joe Brady hire before it even really came to fruition during the season. The expectations going into 2025 are, we saw Nussmeier do this last season.
Right.
We know what can happen from year 1 to year 2.
Weapons.
Like, the expectations are completely different. And so, Lloyd, you said they're the 5th ranked, they have the 5th best odds?
Tied for 4th with A&M.
Wow. Like, to me, that's just, like, that's incorrect.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, we've been saying that throughout the year. Like, whenever you look at LSU,
8.5 win total.
Yeah, the win total, which still I don't believe it's moved yet. The only thing that will happen is what's happening now. Is the more that I'm starting to see it all over the internet. I'm starting to see with the SEC and this little beach trip that they're taking with Brian Kelly into the microphone, and you're starting to see the national guys, Josh Pate, J.D. Pickle. They're all starting to look around and go, I saw Aaron Murray like kowtowing for LSU yesterday also, where they're like, I don't think people are talking about this team enough, and the narrative has been Brian Kelly, can't win the big game. I don't know how good of a coach he is, but when you look at, if you want to look at it objectively, Brian Kelly has been one of the top 10 coaches in college football. I mean, since he's been, from Cincinnati to Notre Dame to now at LSU, like, it's perennial. He's one of the best coaches in the country. That's just that should be the national. That should be the national thought.
The coaches
consistency
voted on it, and he was between the highest he was ranked was number 7, the lowest he was rated was number 10. Like, you
should be able to win with that,
right?
Mm-hmm. And so there's really not
a lot of put together.
Yeah, so if you start there and you can get past whatever your personal feelings are of Brian Kelly, then you start going down the roster and you see, quarterback's coming back. oh, they had some weapons last year that we saw kind of break out. And then you see, oh, Blake Baker's coming back. Harold Perkins is coming back. You saw Whit Weeks explode onto the scene. He's back. Like, it's really hard to look at LSU and go 8-4. If you really wanted to like look into it the way we've been doing it, and now you're starting to see the national media start instead of talking about Penn State or Oregon or like having the Ohio State they've worked their way down to the SEC, and it's much less talking about assuming Alabama is going to be great and starting to go, who's the other team in the SEC? Because Georgia has question marks, Alabama has question marks, Ole Miss has question marks. When you look around, who's the team with the most probably consistent chance to win? It's LSU. But nobody's done the math on it yet. They're just starting to get there.
Yeah.
Like, it would be the same thing I did for, like, if I went and looked around the Big Ten or what. Of course. I would be like, oh, I guess Ohio State. And it's like, you don't really know what we have here because I'm not that close to it. But in the SEC, I do know. And I'm also particularly close to LSU. Like, I don't do the national landscape as much as I hone in on one team. And being around it and seeing it, noticing like they probably don't know the transfer portal is up to 18. Like they probably thought it was done, and then you add another defensive lineman, and you add a safety out of the portal.
Bernard Gooden and AJ Halsey.
And it's like, oh, good Lord, who are these people? Because nobody was watching North Carolina State and going, man, that safety, watch out for him. And then he gets into the portal, and you start watching, he's like, oh, he led the league in interceptions. Like, that's a really good get. Like, he had 100 tackles. It's a really good get. He might be a plug-and-play starter. And you look at the LSU's defense, like, that made them better. And now you can look at every level of the defense and go, oh, man, there's really not a lot of holes there like there were last year. And then the only question mark becomes, how good can you get on the offensive line?
Yep.
Like, that's the real question mark around. That's it.
And then for the first time, it feels like you have depth on defense.
Right.
On defense, but also offense.
This is the deepest team you've had under Brian Kelly so far, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like, the top end talent on that 2022 defense, I will continue to say was really good. Like B.J. Ojolari, Jaquelin Roy, Jay Ward, Mekhi Gardner, Jarg Bernard Converse, Harold Perkins, Bustle Messine, Micah Baskerville. Like, go down the list. Like, you had guys on that defense, and that's why they were able to make up for Matt House. And you saw what happened the next year when Matt House had to build his own team. It looked a whole lot different. He had Omar Spates unplayable when he was like an all rookie team in the NFL. You know,
that is so crazy to me, dude.
It's
he had all of Baton Rouge, all of Louisiana being
convinced that these guys were
terrible.
Just these guys. Not only him,
couldn't play him.
Like not only Spates, but it was other players.
Yeah, it was.
And so, like,
clearly, you could point the finger to him.
Yes, I mean. And then he went around and he's blocked everybody on social media as soon as he was gone. That's the quickest way to know that you were incorrect. So,
thank God.
But yeah, this LSU defense, is absolutely loaded with talent. They filled the roster out. The field out is going to be filled with guys that have experience at the highest level and are going to come in and play for LSU. When you look at that defense on every single level, you've had the depth been built. Like, the depth has been built through the high school recruiting. You went out and got your starters in the transfer portal. And a couple of them that are going to be here more than just like TaMarcus Cooley's going to be like a redshirt sophomore. You know, like he could be here for another year or two. And so you've done a good job, and that's why the expectations are where they're at for LSU, and rightfully so. So at some point, the rest of the country is going to wake up. Vegas is going to wake up, and they're going to realize people have been stealing money from them, betting over 8.5 wins for the last 2 months, including myself. So, but we appreciate everybody that's joining us today. Don't forget, it is regional weekend for LSU baseball this weekend. The Tigers will face Little Rock tomorrow.
Hopefully Rhode Island after that.
Hopefully they'll face. Hopefully they'll take down Little Rock and play the winner out of Rhode Island and Dallas Baptist on Saturday. We will have we should have a preview show for you guys tomorrow. I'm working on my time right now to see if I'll be able to pull it off. I'm not sure, but LSU baseball in the box this weekend as the postseason is officially underway, and everyone's feeling. Speaking of confidence, you got to feel confident with LSU. We've talked about that throughout the week, and I know Andre, you had you wanted one of the uniforms. Let's see the best dressed regionals, and I think this is something good for the chat to get involved in. We're going to throw up all the uniforms and jerseys from the regionals around the country, and let y'all vote on who has the best looking uniform grouped. So like all 4 teams
This is hard.
in a regional, their uniforms together. Who looks the best? Like obviously LSU has some of the best uniforms in the sport, but you have to combine that with Dallas Baptist and Rhode Island and Little Rock, and do their uniforms look good? Yes or no? Go ahead and take a look through.
Should we do it bracket style here?
I don't know if we have we've set it up quite well enough to be able to pull that off just yet. But just take a look here at some of these regionals and see these top 4. I guess out of these the top 4, I would say
Nashville regional versus we'll do a Nashville regional versus Hattiesburg regional. Or do you want to rank these, or do you want to redo the seeding for it? Like Vanderbilt's still a 1 seed.
Yeah, Vanderbilt's a 1 seed. I would put
Louisville's a 4 seed in my mind. Nothing about that.
Really? Well, just that uniform, but I'm thinking of all their uniforms.
Yeah, no, we're just doing these.
Just
I guess.
these?
Yeah, these are
doing the ones you're looking at.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would.
So in the chat, weigh in as well. We're looking at Nashville regional right now. Vanderbilt obviously sitting at 1. This is actually a really bad uniform regional.
Yeah,
like
I would go.
Really
I would
yeah,
go.
this one's not
the
great.
other 3 are.
I would go Vanderbilt 1, whoever the Raiders are 2, ETSU 3, Louisville 4.
I agree.
Because those Raiders are going to pop a little bit. Probably be a little too snug. You'll get some fellas that are make that thing look cool.
Now the Hattiesburg regional is where it gets entertaining. This is a good one. So to me,
I'm a big fan of that Miami.
Yeah, I think Miami should be the 1.
Miami's 1 seed. Yes.
Yeah, Miami's 1.
Miami's the 1 seed.
I really like Southern Miss's unis. And they usually wear
I don't know.
They usually wear pinstripes.
I love a
with
powder
those.
blue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
powder
love
blue
a powder
is nice.
blue.
It'll pop up more than you think, though.
I think we can agree that Alabama's 4, though.
Alabama does have a
Bama
goes. It's
Bama's
a fine
4.
baseball uniform, but bad regional.
It is. Yeah, bad for this. So I would go Miami,
Columbia,
Southern Miss, Alabama.
Okay, I think we TCU. I got TCU. Those are some
So
cool
then
uniforms.
Corvallis TCU goes 1.
I like Oregon State's uniforms a lot. Maybe
Yeah,
just because
they
I've
do look
seen them
good.
on the
I would
big
go-
stage.
I would
They're
go
like
TCU,
creams, right?
Oregon State, USC, and then
Gales.
was that St. Mary's would
St.
be 4.
Mary's, yeah. I like that. Yeah.
And then Florida State, obviously, Florida State's a 1.
You think Florida State?
Yeah.
I know what I'm about to say is
Now,
is
Mississippi State's a
controversial.
2.
I
Or
was
you
going
want
to say
them at 1?
I love Miss State's uniform.
Yeah, as long as they're not rocking the black uniforms, then
No,
they're fine.
the black uniforms are 4 all the way to the bottom. But
And I just
I
like-
would put
I like
I
those
would put
because
Florida State, Mississippi State.
they're not
1 and 2.
traditional. That's why I like them. They're different.
In Mississippi State?
Yeah.
That's like the uniform they've had forever.
I'm saying they're different than like a traditional uniform. Is what I'm saying. So like they're different from all of these
with
others.
the Tallahassee,
Yeah.
I would go Florida State, Mississippi State. Go back up, Lloyd, and then
Bethune-Cookman, I
Northeastern.
got to put over Northeastern.
Yeah, I agree.
yeah, I'm with you. This now here's the
UNC.
kicker right here. North Carolina 1.
No
without-
doubt.
I mean,
North Carolina's
don't
probably
even
going
flinch.
to. North Carolina.
Don't
and
even flinch.
If we
brother.
really want to do this, like we could eliminate a lot of schools immediately and just start looking at 1 seeds. Or if there's any upsets, you let me know. But right now, I have 2 in the top 4 already, and you saw it match up last
Yes.
year. North Carolina's uniforms
no, I
and
mean, it's
LSU
beautiful.
uniforms are what baseball uniforms are supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And they are elite. Clemson
I like Clemson's.
has fantastic uniforms as well. They somehow pull off orange and purple together, which is tough to do.
It's unbelievable.
It seems like pinstripes just get the run of the run of the litter. Like they just look good, and no way you slice it. Coastals I can't even look at because
How do y'all feel about those Auburn unis?
Auburn. I
don't know
don't
what
like
to make
them
of
because
them.
of the way that they look. Like
Yeah.
it's a good idea, but they just don't execute it well. And then Arkansas, another
Yeah, and
pinstripe.
I don't know something about that script, and I'm a big script guy. I love script, and something about Auburn's script, I just don't really like it.
I'm gonna throw. Let me know what you think.
I love those Ole Miss Reds.
I was about to say Ole Misses are great.
Ole Miss has great unis.
UCLA, obviously, if
I
you
like
want
the
to.
Duke.
if you want to play that game.
Yes,
Or
UCLA's
Oklahoma
classic.
State's.
Yep.
Those are nice.
So it'll come. I mean, Texas obviously. I mean, that's.
That's nice, Eunice.
But we're gonna go like all
They're all
pinstripes.
pins. Yeah, all the pins. I mean, they're not.
Yeah,
like
I
the
mean,
same,
pinstripes are
but
just.
they're nice.
UCLA is cool, but it's just it just doesn't play on the baseball field for me that
Their
much.
colors just pop.
No, I would
Yeah,
love
that's
if it
about
wasn't. I would love if it wasn't big UCLA logo and it said Bruins and script across
Yeah.
the front. It would look 10 times better. But that looks screen printed, just on top of the uniform. Like it's just too big.
I think maybe it's I'm biased because I like the SEC, but I don't mind Arizona State's. And the other one that I think is sneaky good is Dallas Baptist.
Yeah, the Dallas script.
So
That
I don't
does
know
look
how
good.
we decide on a winner here, but obviously I have two that I think are elite. I might even throw Miami
I
in
think
there.
that-
I like Coastal's unis too.
I can't. Do,
I think it's
can't do
between
it.
three. It's between three teams.
Miami.
It's between LSU,
LSU.
North Carolina, and Miami.
Yeah, and we'll let the people decide. I'll put it on the poll. We can't even pick a fourth.
Yeah,
because
I couldn't even pick for. Like maybe. I love Florida's pinstripes.
If I'm gonna be honest with you, I would throw Tennessee in the mix.
no.
Nah, because
I would.
It's plain.
It doesn't do it for me. I mean, I don't think they're bad uniforms. We could put Clemson in there, or we could put Ole Miss, Arizona State, just for the 4th seed, or we could put Vandy, the overall one.
I might throw TCU in it.
This
The
purple.
purple with the script.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
Yeah.
Florida State, we forgot,
yeah.
we
Florida
did
State.
forget about Florida State.
but we'll leave that up to the people because
Yeah,
I
what-
do
what-
want to get to.
What are
Yeah,
they
we'll let the
saying
people-
here?
I
They're
do
saying
wanna
What do you want to get to, Lloyd?
Hold on, I
Hit
had
me.
it in the doc.
Oh, the new arena.
Yes.
that'd be sick.
What do you think? Like, obviously, the proposal comes out in 2029, but Scott Woodward has been on record a lot during this SEC conference meeting, and
No, you need it. You need it.
yeah, but he's
It's time.
had more than a few things to say, talking about. I don't know how many other ads are out there talking about the concern of college sports, but his first thing that he was quoted on is like, I do have grave concerns about where this is going and what's going to happen, even with our own conference, even within the Power Four, where and how things evolve, and where do we turn and what do we turn into. It's a general statement, obviously, like in my mind, but there's a reason he's concerned, and people have pointed to Nick Saban to try to fix all of this, and he's like, I don't want to do that.
That's why he got away.
Yeah, it's like these are the problems that I didn't know how to fix, and I'm not going to just go ahead back into being stressed and try to fix it. But another thing, obviously, that Scott Woodward was talking about is a new arena. A potential opening in 2029, which will be on LSU's current golf course, $400 million ongoing with contractors. Do you think that this gets done before, or have you set the over-under at 2029?
Oh, over. I'm
Over.
smashing the over.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
it's after
$400 million.
2029. It's not.
And you have to not
I
only
mean,
do that, you have
you've
to
seen
strip
how
the entire
construction
golf
works
course
in
for parking.
Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like how
That's going to be
Right,
great
I mean,
though
it-
when that does happen.
It's gonna be 2035, 2036. Like it's gonna be well into the 2030s by the time that's
I
gonna
think
happen.
It's possible.
It's
for,
gonna
like,
it's gonna be a mess.
2032 maybe.
I don't know if you want a $400 million plan to be done in 4 years.
No,
No.
you don't. You want this to take a while. Like if you want this to be successful, you want it to be thought out. Think about all the things that are going. Like you have a way you picture it right now in 2025. Think about what's going to change
Yeah, it might
in
be
6 years.
It might be outdated by the time you
Like-
even get the plans done.
Right. Like
Yeah,
you
you wanna
want
be
you
able
want
to-
this to be a process of planning, making sure it's in the position to be what you want it to be. Because what you want it to be is the cream of the crop. Like you want something that's going to be people want to be there. Like
Yeah.
how many concerts does the PMAC hold right now?
Zero.
How many events does the PMAC hold right now?
It's
Never, ever.
None.
And like LSU wants to make money off of the PMAC. Like the PMAC right now, you say it has some of the worst, one of the worst arenas in college sports.
They're just not going to
Two,
put Alec
people
Box on
don't-
here.
They just showed it's just Tiger Stadium, bro.
What the fuck? I mean, it's right here.
It is crazy because it's right there.
The one thing I know that
It's
will
right
be
there.
a disaster will be parking.
Oh,
they
my
have to
God.
figure that out.
They can't.
And then 2 is going to be traffic after these games
Yeah, that's
from a $400 million arena. Like, that is going to be awful.
there's no way.
I don't know how
it's not gonna be worse than
they're going to
football.
handle that at all. Let's see.
It's not going to be worse than football.
What I think they're.
I
I mean, what if you try to do
mean-
like a weekend event where you have a football game on Saturday, you try to
And a
do something
concert.
Friday?
Or a concert on the Friday, and is what you're saying, and a
Yeah.
game on the Saturday. Oh my God!
That's my thing. Like you can, you can complain as much. Like I complain about basketball traffic too, baseball traffic, whatever. It's nothing compared to football. Like I mean, when you
no.
sit through football traffic, you're set up to sit through whatever else happens. And I mean, I just it's time for a new arena because you need like
Oh,
LSU
for
wants to
sure.
make money off the PMAC, and people aren't performing in the PMAC. They all go to the River Center. Like
Yeah.
LSU needs something that can compete, I guess.
Well, not only
So-
that,
and
your-
you need better
your
facilities.
recruits,
So-
yeah. How's it really fun to go and showcase the PMAC? Of all places, when they have, Bud Walton Arena and Rupp out there, and like it's just not. It's oranges and apples.
Yeah,
It's not even close to like the PMAC.
Yeah, I
it
mean,
served
one
its
of the-
purpose
one of the
for many
quotes-
years, but now it's gotta. It's not even nice anymore. It's the seats.
Yeah, I mean, one of the
everything about
quotes
it.
from Scott Woodward was, "I think everyone in the community will be excited when they figure out what this facility can do for the campus and for this part of town." Because that's, I mean, as much as you need for LSU sports, that you need better facilities, you need a better arena, all of those things. For Baton Rouge as a whole, you need something like on LSU's campus that is a hub.
Yeah, it'll make
like
money.
the closest thing you have is the River Center. That's not on campus. It's miles away from campus. Like you need something on campus that can be a hub for events, for concerts, for all of those things. You don't have that. Like people maybe sometimes perform in the River Center. Most, more times than not, it's all the way. People go to New Orleans to perform. Like you need an arena that can be one, good for the sporting events, two, something that can bring more things into Baton Rouge to continue to grow the community and the city itself.
And
So
I mean,
I'm
this
for
is,
it. I just don't.
This is what they're
I think
modeling
it's
it
gonna take a while
after.
for them to get it going.
This is the Moody Center at UT. This is what they're trying to build. Like, I know Texas. I
And
mean,
the Moody Center's awesome.
right. That's what if they can get that done, yeah, you're printing money, because it only will
It'll be massive for Baton Rouge.
if you continue to take care of it and renovate it, make changes, then yeah, you can do shit like this all year round, and you're always making money. But if you just ignore it and it becomes, but look at all the
PMAC.
the accolades that it brought in, and I know Austin has a lot more to give in terms of like live music and such, but it's what you are kind of looking for in Baton Rouge. There's no real place to do this, like the River Center maybe, but
I mean, Tiger Stadium
It ain't doing
has
that.
the ability to do it.
no, but
They
you
just
gotta
don't. I mean, you
Yeah,
don't want to
that's
do that
outside.
though. Yeah, it's outside one, and you want to know that you can sell all those seats before.
yeah,
you
dude,
do
you're-
a concert
right?
in
You're
Tiger
not trying
Stadium.
like Garth will
Yeah,
sell out
like you're
Tiger
not
Stadium,
doing Garth or like
Country
you know.
City Music Hall
Right.
Festival.com.
yeah, you're not doing that anymore. So
But Brandon Hollingworth makes a good point. He says, "I hate their plans for the new arena. Don't get me wrong. I want a new arena, but not an event/concert venue, a basketball gym like Auburn, Houston, Ole Miss. Make basketball. Make sure it's intimate." So I do understand, because that's kind of the balance of where you're at right now. If you're LSU, is you want the Baton Rouge hub, like that's what you want. But on top of that, like the PMAC does have to, like you want LSU to be playing somewhere that's conducive with
Basketball.
good energy. Yeah, like basketball. You don't want it to feel NBA. Like you want it to be
college.
close, tight. Like you want it to be
Yeah,
intimate.
You
So
want to be on top of those players.
I mean, because that's nice. It is. But like when you look at Auburn, like look up Auburn's arena. that
Yeah,
they
I lo-
played
I
at. Like
love
that's the
Auburn's
best in the
arena.
conference,
Yeah.
the best atmosphere, and it's
They-
because it doesn't look official. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't look big and professional, and
It
like
looks like
that's
it's
kind
made.
of the
It's,
people's
it's
most
made for basketball.
Yeah, and they've got to move the student sections
Right.
from the free throw line. To
But
the
I
sides.
think that's the give and take of what they're trying to do, is like get the best of both worlds, where you don't get exactly just a basketball arena, because you have to make money outside of basketball. But yeah, I mean, this is what everybody's kind of going after now, like smaller venues.
I mean, that's a winner, dude.
It looks like high school basketball.
Like, to
but
me,
in all
I feel
the
like
best
what
ways.
you should do is you should remodel the PMAC. Like, if you're going to build this, like, I mean, I get that you can't just print money, but like, there's no reason that you can't just remodel the PMAC.
You have to be weighing costs.
Like, look at the Legacy Center in Lake Charles. Look up the Legacy Center where McNeese plays. Like,
it's awesome.
It
they
doesn't
build
fit.
up. They
I
don't
mean,
build.
it doesn't fit 10,000 people, but I mean, like, you've got the suites. Like, that's what LSU needs. They need suites. Like, you need to have suites in your arena. The PMAC doesn't have suites. You need to have suite seating. You need to have, and you just need something more intimate than what the PMAC currently is constructed like. So,
Yeah, I feel like the good arenas build
like,
up.
Like,
They
look
don't
at that.
build
Like that.
wide.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
Like,
but-
you get this seating, you get to sit close, and then there's suite seating up top.
This is all. These are all great ideas. They've clearly pivoted away from just a basketball arena. Like, they want a multi-purpose arena so
course.
it can pay for itself at some point, because it's not somebody saying, I don't even know what the cost would be to renovate the PMAC, but renovating the PMAC and what it would, the totality of it all, because it's a massive building, and you wouldn't have somewhere to play, and then on top of it, it's like, how many tickets were you actually going to sell? Basketball isn't very good.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm
you're trying to
I
find
mean,
a
you're
way
trying
to
to
be
do-
able
I
to.
just wish.
Best of both worlds.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to live in a perfect world.
Yeah,
I'm
me
trying
too.
to live in a perfect world.
Well, you're
here.
in the Bahamas.
It would be, yeah, of course, whatever. But we appreciate you guys hanging out with us. We make it through just another international show. Great work, you guys, closing it out yesterday. As I headed out, y'all had JD, and y'all closed out after that. We'll do a little athletic connections. We'll get out of here this morning. I'll go burn some more.
Have you gotten in the water at all?
On the beach? Of course, I've been in the water.
Well, I don't know. I didn't know if some people.
That's all I do. I'm a big water guy, big ocean guy.
Is it safe?
Ocean man.
Yeah, I mean, they have buoys around. There, at one point, we all had to get out because there was a stingray or something.
Is it netted?
They had somebody hop on a jet ski and.
It's like a
No,
netted,
it's not
no,
netted.
It's, not
It's
netted.
just buoys that just tell you don't go past this
Okay.
area.
Oh, that's usually like a sign too.
Yes.
Dang,
And
that's a little
watch
scary.
out for the jet skis now. There's somebody just got murdered by one.
I know. I think I might get on one today.
You should. I mean, if you have a chance to jet ski,
Fly
Jet
around
skis
that
are
water.
fun, man.
yeah, I've never seen somebody frown
I
on
love
a
a
jet,
jet
ski.
ski.
It's true.
Of course not.
Here's
They got
our,
a basketball
Speaking
court.
of
I'm gonna hit that
waves.
today too.
here's our athletic connection, sir.
Let's see what we got. What we got. Okay.
Oh, wave.
Right,
Oh, there
we've
you go. I
got
got
shortstop
put together.
Yeah. Shortstop, second base, center field, and pitcher.
Second base, shortstop, center field, pitcher. If you can't get that,
Yep.
we're really,
I mean, what are we doing? if you can't
College
get that?
World Series.
Women's
Women's
College World Series.
And speaking of which, it starts today, so that's fitting.
Oh, they probably did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Yep,
It's
I'm
too
sure.
easy, guys.
Yeah, yesterday was tough.
Yeah, Lloyd and I were very
Really?
challenged yesterday.
Yeah, we got through it.
My bad,
We did.
guys. Good.
Streak continues.
We've got.
Point shooting.
Okay. Point guard, shooting guard, shin guard, mouth guard.
Good stuff.
Good.
All these teams are in San Diego, I think.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
FC
Come
San
on.
Diego, the Wave.
Look it up.
Come on.
San Diego
come on.
Wave.
That was a good one, guys.
Come on.
Do you
Wave
know?
to 'em. Great job, guys.
Have you ever seen the Padres hat that has the swinging fryer on it? It's one of the best logos that they don't use.
Was that like the baseball?
Mhm.
I have seen
Because
it.
it's
It
the
looks
Padres.
Does it
outstanding.
have like the
I'll
glasses
pull
on
up.
it too?
I'll pull it up.
By the way, did you guys see what happened
That's-
to Dish Field last night?
Yes. Oh, who's playing there?
Texas.
Baseball?
Texas is hosting a regional tomorrow, and the entire batter's eye collapsed last night
That
from
is.
weather. I put it
wow.
in the doc. If you
I saw it. I looked
if
at
you
it. I
saw
didn't know
it,
that was
I was like,
Texas.
this is ridiculous. But they said it was going to be same schedule for tomorrow.
Oh, I'm sure Texas doesn't.
I'm sure they know how to build.
Yeah.
No, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
If this happened in Baton
Yeah,
Rouge,
they'll be
people would
okay.
be ecstatic.
Jesus.
I mean, there's nobody that wants a new batter's eye
Lord
more
have
than
mercy.
everybody that plays at LSU.
Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Like we might have to.
They would be so happy if the batter's
Yeah.
eye fell down.
That might be a.
And add some seat. Are they allowed to add seats in the
I don't
center?
know, but that was part.
I know you have to have a batter's eye, but
Yeah, they just want one.
Yeah, I
That's
mean, you have to have
actually-
a batter's eye.
Good.
They just need a better one.
From what I've heard, I've never done it personally, but Mikey and Jared have taken plenty of at bats there. He said it's off. It's
Oh,
off.
really?
It's off kilter. All you see is Tiger Stadium. Like so, it's like it doesn't
Nice.
even do
Of
its
course.
job, and it's like it's so hard to hit. Like during a day game, or if they're doing anything over there, like the lights are on, it's like I can't see shit, and it's like oh, it's batter's eye because it's the whole thing's off kilter.
Hey, day game tomorrow.
Get their shadows ready.
Yeah,
It's a home
get
field
those shadows
advantage.
ready on that batter's eye. Yeah, buddy. Add to it. Add to it. Make Alex Box better.
But here's this logo. Real
But
quick.
look,
well, if LSU can't
yeah,
hit
let me
there,
see
then-
that fryer.
That's what I'm saying. You should. It's a home field advantage
Yeah, I was
in a
about
way.
to say.
Our
They know.
Yeah,
how-
LSU can hit there. They're doing just fine.
this
They
thing.
figured it
This
out.
is sick.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's the best.
They have that on a hat somewhere.
Looks
I
great.
Give me
figured.
Flintstone vibes.
You need
That's
one.
old 70s, buddy.
Check
Just
those feet.
colorway. Oh yeah, wearing the thongs like Jesus did.
Hey, that's what I've been rocking them all weekend.
Oh,
I mean, all week.
Oh, you were rocking the
He's
thong?
rocking the Speedo.
Yeah, thong flops.
Attaboy.
Thong flops, man. Let's get our head out the gutters, guys. But we appreciate everybody. I appreciate you guys getting it rolling once again this morning back home. Appreciate everybody being here, joining us. Don't forget, Tingle & Co. is where we will be next week only. No more Jordy Collada Show channel. It's dead. We'll see you over on Tingle & Co. next week. Appreciate you guys. I'm going to go enjoy some waters and some jet skis. I'll see y'all soon.
Yeah, keep drinking box, brother.
There it is.
Attaboy. It's like they care about the environment or something. I don't know what it is.
It's something, whatever. I hate it.
Later, bro.
Bring
All
that
right,
plastic
Noah.
back. Later.
Bring back plastic.
It's Tingle & Co. From 7 to 9. Come keep with the show. It's a new era. Let's get it, let's go.